Hello.
Good evening.
Hello, good evening.
Hello, can you hear me though?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, sir.
Evening, evening, evening.
Good evening.
Welcome to class today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. On the video. Sure. Okay. All right. So I'm basically here to welcome you to class today. I'm not actually taking the class. Your trainer is here, but I just felt I should be here on the first day to welcome you to class, to introduce myself, and also to get to meet some of you. All right, so that's me, Akin Aregbesola, that's my name. Who else is here? Abayomi Adedokun.
Ayobami.
Ayobami, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Gideon Francis Emanuela. OJ. That's 4 persons. All right. So you're welcome to the DevOps class. This is going to be a 4-month training. And this is just the first day. Normally, the first day is just for introduction and to try and bring everyone on the same page so that we can take off properly by the second lecture. Normally, I do that and I stay for an hour or 2, and then depending on the kind of questions that come in and how many, the number and strength of the class, that varies in terms of how long it takes. But right now, the other trainer is doing a very, very beautiful job. So I just felt, okay, so maybe we just start training right away, because it's more like if using the introduction into the training proper now, so it's no longer a big deal. But all the same, I thought it would not be proper to just to not show, to just leave you. I thought I should be here to introduce you properly to the trainer, who is not here yet, so we'll still expect him. All right. So yeah, we just spend. If you have any questions, general question, not even if they are technical questions, I can take them now. But in the time being, you already know about me, so I'm the head trainer of the theITern, and then the program is basically to train you, prepare you, give you the practical perspective to being a DevOps engineer, so that at the end of the 4 months, you don't only know the tools, you have also practiced enough, and you'd have practiced enough and developed enough projects to be able to go out there and confidently say, I'm a DevOps engineer. And then, of course, there are jobs out there, and your resume is already prepared. So we'll share the resume at the appropriate time. But what we'll be doing all of the training period is preparing you to defend that resume, because once you put that resume out there and claim that you know the content, you are going to get calls, you are going to get interviews, you are going to, okay? But to be able to defend the content, to be able to say, yes, I did that. Yes, I have that experience. Yes, I've completed that project. That's what the training is preparing. All right. So I just finished the session. I had only 7 trainees in that session. And by the time we're completing class, which was only a couple of days back, 2 people had already got a job. All right, and 6-figure jobs. Of the remaining 5, I'm very optimistic that in the next 3 weeks, 4 weeks, maybe 2 months maximum, 4, at least 4 of the remaining 5 would have gotten jobs because they have what it takes to get jobs. All right. So you will be the next batch, even though you are about 5, 6 now. I am hopeful that I will be able to build this class up to at least 10, which is like the number I'm happy with. 10, yeah. Not too few and not too many. We'll have that one-on-one relationship, one-on-one rapport with all trainers. And then you can wake up in the middle of the night and then you're practicing. There is something you don't know. Don't worry, just take a picture, take a photo of, take a screenshot of whatever issue you have, post it on the group that you are in now, the WhatsApp group, and somebody will be there to support you. All right. And then you do that consistently over time, you'll be able to build at least the expertise and the confidence that we need you to have to be able to go out there to see I'm a DevOps engineer. All right. So training in class will be interesting. We'll run because we are building things from scratch. We're not coming into class with something already made and then leaving you to wonder, oh, how did we get that? No, we're building things from scratch. So that means that naturally we'll run into problems. There'll be issues. There'll be places where we ought not to put full stop and we mistakenly put full stop. So we'll resolve all of this together. While that would be interesting on one hand, that would not be your experience until you watch the video all over and try to repeat that same thing and be able to do it by yourself. You don't have the experience yet. So it is one thing to watch your trainer do it, to ask questions, but it's a different experience entirely for you to do it by yourself and accomplish the same result. Only then would it be okay for you to say, yes, I have done this, therefore I have the experience. All right. So that's basically how it works. All right. So at this point, if you have introduce yourself, if you want to show your face for maybe the first and only time if you want, so that when you do get job, because definitely in another 4 months, we'll be talking about 1, 2, 3 persons getting job here. So at least we'll remember you by this conversation. Okay, I know that face. And then of course, if you wish not to show your face hereafter, it's fine, because as a matter of fact, you may not need to, because the practical sessions will be intense. I want to focus on the commands and whatever it is that we are showing you as trainers on screen. All right, so that's it from here. Gideon Francis, then from there to Ayobami and so on. You want to introduce yourself? Are you muted?
Okay, I've unmuted myself. My name,
okay, we hear you. I hear you.
My name is Gideon Francis. I'm calling in from Belgium, and I'm trusting that everything will go as you have just spoken. But one thing I need you to know, or for everyone, is that I'm very new to what I'm about to do. It has always been an interest for me to, I've always had the interest in computer and all the like, but I never had the opportunity until now. Okay. And I hope that I will be able to, by the reason of the zeal that I have and all the like, I hope I'll be able to catch up and then to be able to do something out there. That's it. That's it.
All right. Sounds good. Yeah, like you observed, by the reason of your zeal, your enthusiasm, yeah, you should be able to. IT by itself is not so easy, but with the right guidance, with the right teacher, and the ability to break things down to stuff that you can relate with. It should be. And I have been 27 years on this, and the trainer too has learned from, he has learned a lot. He has experience. So hopefully, in fact, not hopefully, I am very optimistic, almost guaranteeing that by the end of the first month, you'll be wondering, is that how simple it is? I was expecting it to be there. Yeah.
I will be glad.
I'm very optimistic that you come back with that testimony. And then with that kind of mindset, not saying that, oh, this is not that difficult, I'm getting results, I'm interacting with people, especially IT people, and they're impressed and they are wondering, how did you learn all of this? That is where your confidence begins to build.
Okay.
All right. So that fear, that intimidation gradually gives way to confidence. It gets to a level where you are not able to impress prospective employers, recruiters, and so on and so forth. And this training is really, really, really hands-on. We get better and better all the time.
Amen.
The quality of training you are taking now is not the same as we had last year. So we're always on the lookout. What's happening in the industry? What new tool is involved? In fact, I attend interviews to hear these things directly from employers. And then I take pieces, bring them into training. And then I ask questions, what exactly do you want? What do you need your people to be able to do? I get all of these answers and put them practically, very, very important. Practically, we build. It's one thing to just watch videos and feel that you know. It's another thing to actually do it and you see it work. All right. So all of that is what you have paid for. Okay, all right, Gideon, you're welcome to class.
Thank you very much, sir.
You're welcome.
Pleasure.
Yeah. Ayobami, you want to introduce yourself?
Yes, good evening.
Good evening.
Yes, my name is Ayobami Olu Stephen Sadedoku. I'm very happy to be here. I'm calling in from Maryland in the United States. Presently, I'm a lead medical technologist. Like I always look at you guys, the IT guys, as magicians, you know. I'm so new to this. I just don't know nothing. Let's put it that way about IT. So I really want to start something different. And most especially, I want to, I would love to work from home. So, because I believe that's what you guys do most times. So I'm happy to be here, like I said. And like Mr. Gideon said, I mean, I'm optimistic as well. I believe, like you said, I should be able to, perform the magic that you guys perform in a month's time, maybe 2 months, hopefully by the grace of God. So thank you very much for having me here.
Awesome, Mr. Ayobami. All right, yeah, even good. At least you have some science background. Yes, the training will break things down. The training is assuming that you don't know anything IT, so you are good. We'll start with what is computer basically. From there to corporate network, from corporate network to enterprise network. And then once you are familiar with all of those terminologies, we'll take you into cloud and we'll begin to show. Yeah, even though it will be practical from day one, we'll be using these terms over and over until they stick. And then after 1 month, you also will begin to use them. So you'll not be referring to us as them anymore. We'll become part of us. Awesome. All right, Emanuela Sabase. Do you want to introduce yourself or do you want us to jump you over? Yeah, I'm muted, Emanuela.
Can you see me?
We see the fan.
But oh, can you see me now?
Okay, yeah, we see.
Hi, my name is Emanuela. I'm a college student, so I'm trying to see if I have what it takes to be in IT, and I'm looking forward to graduating this class with everybody. I want us to like do so well, and I want to say like if this is like my calling, then I can change my major because I'm in college. I can change into probably computer science or computer engineering. So I'm having all hosts in this class, and also I'm very new to, even though I took some few classes, but I'm not so sure about it. So I'm just gonna see how this is gonna be. Sorry for the noise.
All right, great, great, great. Yeah, so that's a good one. So IT is for everyone, for the young, for the old. So there's room for you in IT. Yeah, you may not be able to comprehend everything, but like you said, you should be able to assimilate enough of what we'll be sharing here to be able to decide, make up your mind if this is something you want to major. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, so OJ. OJ, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yes, sir. Bro, I'm having issue with my camera, so I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I'll fix it later. Yeah, my name is OJ. Um, yeah, well, I've been looking at like cloud, DevOps, everything related from the sideline for a while now. So I keep telling myself I'll get into it. Why I see people for the past 3-4 years getting into it, making the money. So I was like, okay, you know what? This year I have to start from somewhere. Yeah, I've done it like on my own. I've studied, a little bit about it. Maybe get this education or something. But yeah, but I just want to have like a good experience, good knowledge of it. So
Okay.
that's what I mean.
So you have some certifications already?
Oh yeah, I have the solution architect. Yes.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, but certification is not knowledge like that.
Yeah, but
Yeah, exactly.
we are still going to assume, especially for the sake of others, that no one knows about IT.
Yeah, we're all learning.
Yeah. All right. So that's beautiful.
Yeah.
OJ. All right. So who else is here? Just I thought I allowed Femi in. Yeah. My
Can you hear me?
yeah. Who is somebody trying? Can you still
Yeah,
hear
this is
me?
Simeon. Yeah, I can hear you. This is Simeon. Can
Oh,
you hear
Simeon
me?
can hear me. Okay. Yes, Simeon. Okay. That's
All
what
right.
is down. Okay.
Yeah, nice to meet you. My name is Simeon. Yeah, I have my boss right here as well. So, Mr. Yobami. I'm actually a medical lab scientist, so coming from different background entirely. So,
Okay.
basically, I'm looking at the possibility of switching my career. I don't want to work hard to make enough money. I really want to work smart. So I need a cynical job, like a little stress, more pay. Working in clinical environment, you're gonna work for your paycheck. So
Yeah.
though you work here as well, but you just work smart instead of working hard. So that's me, by the way. And I don't have IT background, and I'm hoping and I'm positive minded I will get enough from this class that will suffice enough for me to get the job I'm looking for and to get the money I'm looking for eventually. So that's all about me.
This one is talking about money. How much money are you looking for?
Well,
Anyway, we are looking for money, I know.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, once you get the first IT job and spend some 6 months, maybe 1 year there, yeah, you should be comfortable enough to add one more, and then of course that will shoot your value. So I know people who do 2 jobs. In fact, mostly 2 jobs. Why would they want to do 1 job? 2 jobs, maybe sometimes 3 jobs. All right, yes.
Thank you.
So your science background would definitely help, although it's not like people who do not have that would. I mean, it's just it's a soft landing. It's good. All right, beautiful. Welcome to class, baby.
Thank you.
All right, who else is here? Dayo Adeniji, have you spoken? Dayo, have you introduced yourself?
No, not yet.
Oh, okay. Can we meet you?
Yes, so yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, my name is Daya Deji. I live in Houston, and I'm currently working as a ServiceNow developer. And I'm looking into cloud because even ServiceNow itself is hosted on the cloud, and I see that a lot of my friends are into cloud already. So I just want to leverage on the new innovations around the cloud and learn new technologies as well.
Okay. Wow, interesting. What exactly do you do with ServiceNow as administrator?
Yeah, I work as a ServiceNow developer. So we just do like configuration changes on the platform for the company. I work with Deloitte at the moment. So it's a consulting company. So we have different clients. So they have ServiceNow. Some of them use it as a ticketing system. Some of them use it basically as a platform to improve their business processes. For example, you can use it for a service portal rather than writing code from scratch to build a website. You can have some drag and drop functionalities to put up together your website for your company. So things like that are what we do presently.
I see. Okay. That's good. All right. Okay. So you're welcome to class.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. So I think that's about it. That's about it for now. 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Is Femi here? Femi, are you here? Okay, Femi is not here yet. All right, no problem. So, okay, so maybe we just start the introduction to IT now. Since your trainer is not here yet. So we'll just discuss it. We'll still do it technically, but just discussion. All right. So the concept, I'm sure some of you have seen the videos before, but I'm just tired of repeating it. I wanted something more challenging. So the thing that is more challenging now is for a younger trainer to come, take these preliminaries, lay the foundation, take you these courses, the first 1-2 months, and then prepare you for the big course, which is DevOps. And then, yeah, it can take you all of the courses. And then I come in at some point to prepare you for interviews and to do a practical project from scratch with you. All right. So he takes the first 1 month or 2 months. And then depending on how it's going, I come in to take the last 2 months. So in the first 1 month, apart from the introduction, which we spend the first lecture on, maybe the first 1.5 lectures, the first 1 month will basically be teaching you an operating system called Linux operating system. So there are broadly 2 kinds of operating system. Operating system 1, operating system 2. The operating system that is common in IT that everybody knows is the operating system that users use at the client side. Let me move the mind. All right. So what do I mean by that? I mean that once your application is ready, whatever it is that you, in the case of the person who spoke last, ServiceNow is the application. So in your own case, it could be a different application. So once your application is ready and you make it available to your customers will now be able to access that application, usually using Windows environment from their laptop, from their desktop, from their Android, from their all of those operating systems, their client side. So the most popular of them is Windows. So Windows operating system is the operating system that the computer uses to receive application and to work on application. But on the server side, server is the computer where the application is running from where you are drawing the application so that you are seeing it on your client. So in other words, there is the server, there is the client, and there is a connection between them. All right. The concept of the server and the client being connected together so that information can flow from one point to another between them is called networking. And it will not just be between one client and one server. It will be between thousands of clients and a server. So it's like a star. So right there, we'll draw all of these things. I'm just taking time for the trainer to come. All right, so we'll have a single point and then multi-points to different, it may not be wired, so most of the time wireless, so you may not see different clients. So at this client side where you are using this application, you are running Windows operating system. But at the server side, that where this application is coming from, that server is not running Windows. Windows is too small for that server. The server will crash under Windows. So this server is running Linux operating system. It is robust, it is secure, it is light, it counts all of the advantages. So the server is running Linux operating system. So because you as engineers will be working on servers, not on clients, it is after you have developed, created, and deployed that application and released it, that is when it is available on the client. So you'll be working on the server. So for that reason, you need to learn Linux operating system so that you can work on this server. This server does not speak Windows. So the first thing you will learn is Linux. And Linux is a blank screen, just blank like that. Oh, it's not blank. Just blank. All right. Just black screen. And then with a cursor, just one cursor blinking, waiting for you to enter, to command it to do something. So what command do you enter? What do you want to achieve? So what command do you enter to achieve that? All right. Do you want to copy file? Do you want to install a service that you can now use to send security to your client? Do you want to run your application so that your remote client, because all of these other clients are remote, all right? Some in Nigeria, some in Belgium, some in US, so that a particular effect will happen on the client. So whatever it is you want to do on the server, it is a command that you enter. That command is Linux command. So you learn the commands, you enter them, you see the effect. Oh, this is what it does, this is what it does. And sometimes you also go to the client side and pretend to access to see the effect of the command that you just entered. All right, so that's what you'll be learning in Linux. So after you have learned Linux and you now have enough grasp of servers, you know what to do with servers, how to spin up servers, how to manage servers to achieve the different goals. The next thing is for you to now go into cloud and spin up servers, live servers with live IP addresses that can now serve thousands and billions of people, of clients all over the world. They are, because you are in cloud, they're already live. All right. So for that one, we'll go through a curriculum. That's subject number 2. A curriculum of AWS called AWS Certified Solutions Architect. That's the curriculum we'll use for the training. So by the time you are done with that second course, which is AWS Solutions Architecting, you will now be called AWS Solutions Architect. And then you also qualify to write that certification. and hopefully pass it, because you just need to do extra reading on top of what we teach you. All right. So first Linux, then second solutions architecting using AWS. Then after that, we'll move to the third course. The third course will be infrastructure as code. So while you were a solution architect, you needed to go into cloud. You log into cloud, and then you see all the services in cloud visually. And then you use your mouse to click, this is what I want, this is what I want. All right. So you were doing this manually. But with infrastructure as code, you are no longer doing things manually. You are now writing commands called scripts to go and do things for you in cloud. So instead of going into cloud, for example, to spin up a server, put security group around the server, load the Linux operating system on the server, load a web server or ServiceNow in the server, and so on and so forth. You are no longer doing all of that manually. You are now writing a script. And then once you press enter and say the script should run, it is the script that will now find its way into cloud and spin up those things. Even if you now go to cloud, it just be a matter of convincing yourself, oh, the tasks that you deployed are actually running. All right. So that is the beginning of automation. And that is when it is from that point that you start to call yourself an IT person. If it's just solutions architecting, nobody can just watch the film and know how to spin up server. It doesn't take tools, you know all of that. But the concept of being able to automate the process, that is where this idea of six-figure job begins. All right. So for automation, in other words, provisioning your servers in the cloud, we are going to use a tool called Terraform. So we'll be learning Terraform to achieve that. And then once you can achieve that, the next and final thing you want to do is this. Now, there is a different department there are so many departments of IT, networking, security, developers, database, so many. But the one that we are training to become is DevOps Engineer. So there's a different department of IT called developers. These developers are basically programmers, what we used to call programmers. So they write the programs. And then once you run a program, it does something for you. All right. So that's the language it used to be called. But these days, we call them developers. Instead of software programmers, like we used to call them, they are now called application developers. So the new name for software is application, and the new name for programmer is developers. So these application developers, or simply called developers, will write codes. They will write codes in Java, in Python, in C#, in Node.js. There are so many programming languages. Depending on what the company chooses to use, they will write codes in that programming language. Programming language is now called SDK, all right, Software Development Kit. So when you write those codes, the codes are now available. So let's take an example of an application, for example, Uber as an application. So those codes are available, but they are not yet Uber. Those codes need to be run and built into an application, built into Uber before they can run on the server. And before those end users that we talked about earlier on, using Windows operating system, can access them from this Linux-based server. So this is your work as DevOps engineer. Your work as DevOps engineer is to take those codes written by the developers and then build those codes into applications. I'm trying not to use too many terms now to confuse you, so I'm picking my word. Build those codes into applications and then run that application through a series of production line. All right, it gets here, it is chopped off, it gets here, it is wrapped, it gets here, it's labeled, and then runs it through production line until it is ready at this other end. When it is finally ready at this end, it is now deployed into the server that is running Linux. It is when it is available in the server that you see you have deployed it to production. It is after it is now available in the server that the world or the customers that are connected through mobile app, through laptop, through desktop, through tablet will now have access and be able to see. So when customers have access, when clients have access and they are not able to see the effect of that code that you just processed, we say that that code, at this level, when it is a server, we no longer call it code. Well, when it was raw and you had to process it through this production line, and then became a finished product that you now dropped into the server, at that level, we could call them codes, artifacts, or any other name. But once it's in the server, it is now called application. And once it is there, it is now available to your customers. So it is live. So again, your work is to build this production line for the codes to pass through and get modified until they come out as application at this other end and released to production. This production line technically is called pipeline, CI/CD pipeline. So at the end of the day, the main thing you'll be taking away from this course is to say that is to learn the tools that you need to build this CI/CD pipeline from the point of code entering the pipeline. So at this level, we talk about tools like Git, like Maven. Throughout the pipeline, we talk about, so Maven will build the code. We talk about JFrog, we talk about SonarQube, we talk about Dockerization, containerization using Docker. We talk about deployment to production. And production will normally be Kubernetes, all right? And then once it's in production server, the world can now access it. So the building of this pipeline is the main thing that you are taking away from this training. So after the training, somebody says, I have a job. It is the job of building codes. No, that is not your work. I have a job. It is the job of maintaining a database. No, that is not your work. Whatever job it is, if it is not building this pipeline and taking the codes from the developers and running it through this pipeline into production, then that is not your work. Your work as DevOps engineer is to intercede between developers at this end and operations. When you put it into server, what happens inside the server is operations. So DevOps, development operations. So you are in between them. You take the code from developers, process the codes, convert them into application, and put the application into operations, into production. So that is your work. But in doing this, you will learn a bit, not actually a bit, you are more on the operation side. You remember the Linux that we talked about earlier on? The Linux is on the server. You do it on the server. So you are more on the operation side. You are less on the developer side. All right. So even though you are between, as a DevOps person, you are between developer and operation, the development and operation, you are more an operations person because all the Linux about make directory, change directory, take this file from here, put it here, delete this file, tear that one, all right, build a new service that will enable me SSH into a remote server. All of that is operation. As a matter of fact, when you can do all of that, there is a job role called Sysops. It means system operations. So you qualify for that job, but that job is not very common. It's too tiny to be taken too seriously. So nobody will hire you as a Sysop. You should know Sysop alongside other things so that you can do many things together. All right. So that is the expectation at the end of your training. So the project now would be to build from scratch. No server, nothing provided at all. Just take these codes. These codes will be provided written by 14 different developers and pushed to some central location. Take these codes, build the pipeline, build the Kubernetes production server, run the codes, make it available on the production server, and go and test whether people from around the world can view it. Once you can accomplish that, then you say, yeah, I'm ready for that. All right. So I just gave you a summary of what the training will cover, and then I'll take a break here to just take simple questions, and then after that, maybe we'll start the training proper. In the time being, we are still not here. All right, let me take your questions. Mr. Gideon, was that too tough? Did you understand that?
Not really. I'm just watching and seeing how you are manipulating the whole thing. But I think it is going to be easy. I think.
Okay.
Determination matters here.
All right. So any contribution, Dio? So any contribution or question on this thing?
Yes, the only question that I have is, as a DevOps engineer, I heard you talking about the pipeline and all of that. So when the developers develop in the dev environment, and do they just give the DevOps those codes for them to do sort of like automations, or just on a high level, how does that interaction work there?
Yeah, so when developers, so there is something called repository. For repository, generally you use a site like Bitbucket, GitHub. So there's something called repository. This repository is a cloud-based server where the different developers from India, from Nigeria, wherever they are developing from, IT is work from home now. So everybody's working irrespective from their different homes. They will now push their codes into this central place. So this is the central place that you as DevOps engineer has access to. So you pull the codes from here into your own system, and that is where you build your pipeline, put the codes in your pipeline, and run them through your pipeline. So those codes are pushed from the respective laptops that all of the developers are working into a central repository. For that central repository, we'll be using Bitbucket.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. We'll be using Bitbucket. So part of the tools you will learn is Bitbucket. What's Bitbucket? How do you create that? And how do you write codes and push it to Bitbucket? So that is where your JIT commands will be very useful. All right. So JIT pull, JIT push, username and password. Okay. Yes. Any contribution? Where's the trainer now? Any contributions to that? All right, so if there are no contributions, let's find out what the trainer is so that I can start the class. I don't even have my own laptop to say, okay. Where are you?
Hello, sir.
Where are you?
I am joining the class now, sir.
Why is it taking so long?
I was settling with Banker and Ibrahim, sir.
Okay.
All right.
Oh, all right. I forgot you had an. All right. Okay. Any other general questions? Employment related, certification related, salary related, opportunities? Any general questions?
Okay, it's Dio again. I want to ask, in terms of as a DevOps engineer, do we really need to learn the scripting language in AWS, or we just work as a DevOps engineer? Then when we have issues with the code, we relate back to the developers?
The scripting is one thing, the developer is a different thing. So for the developers, we call it coding. So for the automation, we call it scripting. So if your question is, as DevOps engineer, do we need to know scripting so that we can automate? Definitely yes. Capital letter yes. If you don't know scripting and you cannot automate, then you are not a DevOps engineer. Well, the question is, do we need to know coding so that if there is problem with the codes from the developers, you can correct it? No. Developers' job is to develop and correct whatever error there is in coding. It's not your work. So the way the pipeline is set up is such that if there's an error somewhere along that path, it will go back to the developer to say, there's an error here, correct it. And until it passes that check, it will not be able to progress from here. All right? Did I answer your question?
Yes, that's correct. Thank you.
Yeah, we need to know scripting to be able to automate compulsorily. You cannot get job if you cannot automate. So usually there is more than one tool to accomplish this. There's more than one tool to accomplish this different task. All right. So one tool for automation is Terraform. Apart from Terraform, you hear other tools like Ansible, like Python, like in the case of AWS CloudFormation. These are other tools. But we're going to learn Terraform. We're going to learn just one, Terraform. So with that one, we're not able to script too. So if you go to interviews and say, okay, what tool do you use to automate? It's Terraform. And usually before you even apply for that role, you'd have seen it in the job description that for their own automation, they use a tool. All right. So it's enough to say, I use this tool for automation. But for coding, no. Any job that requires you to be able to code, that is not your job because you are not a developer. Code is for developers, scripting is for automation. All right, good question. That may not have made sense to everybody, but don't worry, we'll take it from scratch. Any other question?
Just a quick one. Yeah, so I know you emphasize on Terraform I mean, a lot. So, yeah. But I don't know if that's related to what you're gonna learn on the DevOps side, because there are some people I don't know the difference. I know they just mentioned like maybe Jenkins and I was trying to remember one. It starts with S. I don't know if I can remember the name. So all those things, yeah. So like, how do they? So what are they for automation? So where do they come in?
Yeah, they are part of the tools that you use to build the pipeline. So Terraform specifically is scripting to provision your infrastructure in cloud. But apart from Terraform, you also have your Git, your Bitbucket, your SonarQube, your JFrog, your Kubernetes, your Docker and containers. And then you use Jenkins to coordinate all of this. So Jenkins is another tool. So all of these tools, they are part of. They are the spanners, the screwdrivers, the screws, the nuts that you use to build your pipeline. So Jenkins is the most powerful of them, I would say. Did you get that? Yeah, Jenkins is one. Yeah. So you learn all of this in the 4th month. From the 3rd month, that's when. But in the first 2 months, it will be majorly Linux and AWS. And this is the foundation that you need to be able to lay this other. Yeah. And of course, there are other tools that we are not even talking about here. But there are so many tools, but these tools are not so. Don't be scared by the number of tools I'll be learning. I think there'll be at least 15 tools to learn, but they are not hard. They are not hard. When we get to the point where we need them, we just say, oh, yeah, I need a 9 here, spanner 9, give me 9 there. You just get it, and then we're done with that. For this other one, we need Allen key. Yeah, give me Allen key there. So these are the different tools that we use to build our pipeline. But it's just that in IT, instead of hardware tools, like I mentioned, we're actually using software tools.
So how do you remember the commands, for each one?
They will stick.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's where it's important for you to understand the concept. So it's not just doing it; it's understanding the logic behind it, so that when you get to a particular point, okay, I haven't come this far. I'm here now. Okay, what I need to do here now is from this point. What I need to do here now is to push this thing to server. Oh, how do I put this thing to server? Oh, Linux told me that to put something to server. Does the server even exist? Then you check. Oh, server does not exist. So where do I push it to? I need to create a server. So the reasoning will tell you what. And then, of course, the reasoning will also be in line with industry best practices. So there are standards that you are following. But even if you don't remember that standard, your understanding of the concept will still help you work. And by the time you now remember the standard that you compare, I wasn't even looking at the standard yet. I almost got it right. Then you know that you'll be right.
Thanks.
All right. Okay, so Femi, we have just completed the introduction.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, so we'll start the training proper now. I'll hand over to you. I didn't want to just start training and then hand over and then all of it. Anyway, basically, we'll start the training proper. So there are about, you will see the number of them here now. And then we'll keep building the class, like I said. Hopefully we'll get some 10 people in class when we're ready. All right, so that's about it. I just needed to be here to meet them. I forgot you were having the other class. I thought it was yesterday. All right, so let's
I
chat.
just had to quickly resolve with them so I could join here. Yeah.
Let's talk later about that one so that I know how to take over and complete the project.
Okay, sir. Yeah.
All right, guys. So that's about it. So I'll be chatting in the group. I'm part of that group. So when you leave, when you have issues and you ask questions in the WhatsApp group, I'll be there. And then Femi will handle you from now till you are ready to, and then prepares you for me till I'm ready to come back and take over from this. All right. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you, sir.
All right.
Thank you, sir.
So this is my link. So as I'm leaving now, you would use your link now to log in so that I can start the training proper. So Femi, may log on.
Okay, sir.
Share the link in the WhatsApp group so that after I log off, everybody will go back to the WhatsApp group and click that link to join this session.
Sorry.
Everyone okay with that? Yeah.
Are we going to have the videos to each class?
Yes. All classes are recorded. So immediately after class, maybe 2-3 hours after class, the videos will be uploaded to, and then we'll share the link privately with you. It's not for public. So we'll share the link with you. So at the appropriate time, your trainer will ask you for your email address and be able to share those videos privately.
Thank you, sir.
All right. All right, guys. See you some other time as I leave you in good hands. So I'll end this one now and then go back to the WhatsApp group, click the new link that Femi just shared and join his session. Bye-bye, everyone.